Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Noble Knows. I'm Brad McMullen, along with award-winning trial lawyer Noble McIntyre. And before we talk about some cool things going on here at the firm, go off topic a little bit, talk about college football. The new coaches poll just came out, Noble, and the Texas Longhorns received a first-place vote. How in the world is that?
It's happy hour in Texas all the time? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've got to believe that the Texas coach who has a vote thought that that would be a good thing to do for his program so that he could walk into the locker room and say, look, I believe in you so much that I put my neck out and voted you number one. It's got to be that. Otherwise, it's the happy hour thing, because clearly a team that didn't even have a winning record last year and really hasn't produced anything of any quality in quite some time. Number one above Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan State. I mean, come on.
Yeah, the players have to be drug tested. Shouldn't the coaches that vote in the coaches poll also be drug tested if somebody is voting Texas number one? And now Texas may have a great season this year, but to think that they are the best team in the country on week one when they had another losing record last year.
I mean, the one good thing you can say every time they throw a lot of money and hire a new coach is at least we know who they're going to let go in 3 years.
Oh.
So
right. Well, Boomer Sooner, everyone. All right.
Boomer Sooner.
Recently, the firm had a case that ended with a $50 million settlement. Kind of give us an idea how that comes about as people are watching this right now and they have maybe been wronged by a large corporation or in an accident. How do you get to a judgment or a settlement that comes around $50 million?
Well, the thing you have to realize, and what a lot of people don't realize, is there's a significant difference between what we call a one-off case, which means just a case that's a standalone singular event, such as you were hit and killed by a semi-driver going down the road while distracted.
But they brought me back to life.
Well, there you go. Just using as an example.
Yes, okay.
And so that claim as a standalone claim has X value. And the value depends on where the attorneys can get it to for a settlement posture, or if it goes to a jury trial, what a jury might do. That case is much different in the court system than the mass tort cases that you have. For instance, Roundup. You see a lot of Roundup litigation commercials on TV, Camp Lejeune now, where you have a large number of clients who suffered a similar or the same injury for which they are all consolidated and they move forward on the same track. And so in the case of Roundup or in transvaginal mesh or defective hips or Paxil that I had, I would have a large number of cases representing a large number of clients, but they're all lumped together and moving together at the same track. And so when you resolve them, you often resolve them all at the same time. And so while $50 million is a lot of money and sounds like a lot of money, if it were one person, it really, really would be. Right. But if that's $50 million because you had 150 clients, well, now it's a much more manageable $333,000 average or whatever the numbers might be. And so that's what happens, and that's how lawyers such as myself, and there's only a couple of us that do mass tort in Oklahoma because it's hard. There's a cost to that. That you can get those types of numbers because I'm representing so many clients at the same time in one litigation.
And I really want to touch on that because not everybody, as you mentioned, can do a case like that because it sometimes takes a lot of time and a lot of resources to get to the finish line.
Yeah, it does. And for the most part, when you graduate law school, I think historically people will graduate and they'll go practice in their county. Some people never leave the small town that they're in. Other people will say, I practice in a 4, 5, 6 county region. Some folks, such as myself, I advertise statewide, I practice statewide. And that's the furthest that most are ever going to get. Most aren't going to do the mass torts, which requires me, an Oklahoma lawyer, to have cases in 43 different states, clients in 43 different states, because it can be confusing, it can be hard, and it is incredibly expensive, and it is incredibly difficult. And it's intimidating if you've never done it before, and it's hard to break into that kind of inner circle, so to speak. And so you don't get a lot of lawyers in any one state that really does that. I do. I've been doing it for a number of years. My first one was in the FinFin diet litigation, 10, 15 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, and it's so important to hire somebody that actually has experience doing that. And again, only a handful of lawyers in the state of Oklahoma do this, but we've got Noble right here who does it all over the country.
I do, and the one good thing I think that it provides for my Oklahoma clients is if you didn't have the handful of us that do it in Oklahoma, what you would have is, say, an Oklahoma client that would be needing to hire an attorney in some other state. Well, the problem with that is, look, you kind of want somewhere where you have an attorney where you can drop in if you want to. You can go see him or her. You can talk about your file in person instead of everything over the phone. And so what I do is important for the folks that I help here in Oklahoma. Now, I still have clients all over the state. Does it sometimes amaze me that a client from New York will call me up and hire me when I'm in Oklahoma when there are some really good New York lawyers? It does, but I'll take their call.
And people from out of this country calling and hiring you
Yeah,
as well.
I mean, we represent Canada right now in the opioid litigation, all the provinces of Canada, and that took some work to figure out how to set up an interjurisdictional law firm that would allow a United States/Oklahoma lawyer to legally practice and do cases in Canada. Took some work. It wasn't easy, and that's why most people don't do it. Took a year and a half or so to figure out, but now we're doing that. And so now we're moving forward in Canada, not just an opioid, but on Paxil and on a number of other litigations.
And here's a critical thing that you need to know who are watching this at home or on the go, is that you can get an award-winning firm like McIntyre Law and get the McIntyre Promise, which means you're not paying for any of this legal stuff until after he wins. And if you don't win, it's all on you.
I'm going to win. But you're right. It's not going to cost you anything if we don't prevail on your behalf. We front all the expenses all the time. I tell clients all the time, it doesn't matter if I spend $1 million of my own money and 100,000 hours of my own time. If I'm not successful on your behalf, you don't owe me anything.
And really cool, 27 years, guys, of practicing law. He's got one loss. So if you want a winner who's going to fight for you, who's going to use every resource at his disposal, download the McIntyre Law app, visit the website, give him a call, and get someone who will fight for you and your family right now. For Noble McIntyre, I'm Brad McMullen.
Thank you.